Ooh, ooh, ooh. We are live.
We are live.
Da-da-da. Just letting the countdown happen so we can get everybody on board.
Let's get the countdown.
Yes, now. You know who's here with me, the sidekick. So
Yes.
lovely. So, good night. Good night. Good night. How are you tonight, my friend?
I am great, brother. Great.
Lovely. I'm just waiting till
How
I
you
see the
doing?
note. Good. Actually, I had a great day today. Just a lot of
Nice.
leads came in today, but I was really busy.
That was nice.
Thankful for that. Right,
Always.
but folks, good night. Let me just make sure we are live. I'm saying we are live on LinkedIn. I'm just not seeing the notification up. But tonight is a special night. It is the Monday after the conference.
Yes, it is.
So we have to talk about the conference.
Yes, we do.
Right?
That's super important.
Super important. But before we talk about the conference, do we introduce them now or do we talk and then introduce them?
No. You got to bring them in, man.
We got to bring y'all in. So before we talk about the conference, let us bring in the ladies that are responsible for the conference. Okay, so bringing on first, I'm going to bring who to bring on first, Linda? I'm not deciding. Hold on. Who do we bring on first?
Bring on Leisel. Bring on T. And then bring on Tish.
Okay, T.
Oh gosh.
And then Tish.
Tisha and then Tisha.
Okay.
Ladies.
Now it's the tedious task to decide the order in which to bring
the order.
Yeah, I don't know the order, but hold on. Before we get into everything, let's bring on this individual quickly. Say your greeting.
LinkedIn Live with.
He says it's a profession team.
This is a fashion team.
All right. She actually rushed out the room this time. She have Olympics to watch. She hype on the swimming and the relay running. She loves Shikari. Shikari is her favorite person. Yeah.
Right.
So we brought in these amazing ladies tonight, folks, because we couldn't have done last week Thursday without these amazing ladies, their skills, their talents. I don't know about you, Lyndon, but I felt so relaxed this year compared to all the other years because it was such a fantastic job. Like it just felt like it's like.
Well, I'll definitely say I felt extremely relaxed after the conference. all the way leading up to the conference, of course, I was a little bit nervous because of everything else that we were experiencing.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, again, without these three ladies on the team, pressure away. I don't know how we would have done it.
Correct. And for those of you wondering, just to give you a little breakdown, Tisha is the one who found the platform for us, everybody who attended the conference. She is the event extraordinaire. There's nobody better than her in Trinidad and Tobago right now doing virtual events or physical events.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Hey, Colin, good night. No, this is real talk. We're talking real talk here. Right? I'm sorry. Like, it have a lot of others.
Off with that one, Tisha.
Yeah, it have a lot of good people out there. There are good people out there, but if you want the best person for event, there's Tisha. Full stop.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Then we bring in the communication extraordinaire, the MC extraordinaire, the host extraordinaire, the vibes extraordinaire, which is Leisel. So if it is that you want your virtual event to have the best vibes, and let me share with you a fun stat too. When I asked Tisha to share much stats about how much people was engaging, she say it might be unrealistic because sales the profession attendees just have so much conversations going on. And I think it stems from the engagement from Leisel. Right? From Leisel, and then last but not least, the person who was just automating everything in the back end, the VA extraordinaire, Tynisha of the admin shop. Just crushing everything on the back end.
Hi.
Yes. So, ladies, anybody could jump in. I know Lyndon have questions because I would love you all to share. What was your biggest? Yes. Yeah. What was your biggest takeaway from last week Thursday?
Team.
I like the fact that I get everybody stumped.
My biggest takeaway was team.
Yeah.
Everybody has their
Agreed.
own skill set, and kind of just brought it all together to fit the pieces together for everything to work. Team. That was my biggest takeaway.
Love it.
Yeah.
I think my takeaway was respect the process. Because I think...
Well, when you say the process...
Yeah, that's what I get into that now, right? These events don't just happen, right? And that it's a process. It takes so many moving parts to get everything coming together. And if we have to be very transparent as we are, like a couple of times we were like, this thing gonna hit or not? like we were genuinely concerned. Right?
Like in the month of June.
In the month of June. Because some things were just out of our control and we had to adjust. We had to follow through on a different thing. But the process is what got us to where we were. The process and understanding why we do things the way we do it. And this is where I will say I will not take all the credit for being the virtual event person, because if you work with me, Leisel is right there in the background. Right? So it's
excuse me, Tisha bot, please. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So yeah, I think because we had a process, and even though we had to change the plan along, it was still a process. And because we stuck and stayed, and then said our prayers the morning of the conference, I think everything happened. So definitely respect the process.
Nice. I love that one.
I should have given my answer first, as I had to ask the follow-up on there, boy. I think my biggest takeaway, and I shared this in a LinkedIn post, but it's a line that I guess Tisha and I have now coined in our practice of here we grow again. I think for me, just seeing the growth of the team collectively as well as individuals in terms of just from concept to execution of the process, to me was very emotional, but also inspiring. Because sometimes as an entrepreneur, it's very, very easy to feel as if you're alone when it's just your business and you that you're trying to nurture and progress. And to have been on the journey with 4 other entrepreneurs, looking at how we've matured, how we've developed individually, and then being able to use that growth to even better us collectively was totally phenomenal for me. So yeah, that was my biggest takeaway.
Nice.
And she was worried about the follow-up.
No, but Lyndon, what's yours?
I would always say, so, and this will actually sort of highlight, not taken away from the value that both Tisha and Tynisha brought, but I really want to give kudos to Leisel, because on
You're trying to make me cry.
all occasions, don't tear up on me, right? On all occasions, giving Leisel the raw idea and her being able to sit down and absorb it, and maybe before the end of the conversation, she already has a direction, breaking it up into categories.
The love and
marriage part of it.
Yeah.
And
I was waiting to interject.
And so to me, when I look at it, one of my biggest things coming into entrepreneurship was trust, right? Mm-hmm. And when I say that, I mean trusting people with the ability to help you bring this thing to fruition. Because coming out of the corporate space, I didn't have people that I could have trust to bring that to the fore. Is either they weren't doing it properly, so I would just try to do it for myself, right? And that's what I came into entrepreneurship with. But working with you guys, especially on this project over the last 3 years, You know, I can kind of close my eyes and say, okay, well, this person will handle this and that person will handle that, and then they add more to it. And I definitely want to say that especially with the love and marriage and the categories, like when I sat back over the weekend, I just thought about it. I was like, that was really
Right?
freaking brilliant. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
It was
it was.
yeah,
absolute pure brilliance.
Kudos,
yeah. So I
Leisel.
just have beyond communication, and that's what Leisel has always brought. She's always brought that additional creative spin to things coming out of what we say into how the thing should actually look. You know, so even when we brought in Dale, when we had a little challenge with one of the speakers, you know, and when we brought Dale in, Leisel was immediately thinking as to how do we now make this work with Dale and Sean. So again, as I say, that's one area when I look at it, you know, without anybody else, I don't know. I don't know.
Correct.
I don't know either.
And let me be corny and say I am along with Lyndon on the aspect of trust, simply because I felt comfortable taking the lead from any one of you all just to get certain things done, because as Tynisha said it before, we all have our different strengths, and I think we understand that explicitly. Like nobody ever, like I think this year nobody ever stepped on anybody's toes and nobody doubted what anybody said. At most what we tried to do was understand, but like the 100% trust, honestly, like when I just listened to stuff, even when they heard me ask questions, it's legit just trying to understand so I could follow along. But the trust factor I just love, and knowing, especially when it came to just conceptualizing and what we were getting on the day, is like, just tell me, yes, I believe you. I'll just stick my hand out just for you to guide me along, and I'm going in 100% faith.
So from that perspective, I would say, I'm talking on behalf of Tisha here.
Oh boy.
From that perspective, y'all were dream clients. I don't think we've ever done a job where the client has not known like what they're going to show up to on the day, what their conference is going to look like or feel like. I remember when we were doing the tech rehearsal, Jared messaged to ask the location of the spot. Like, that's so crazy. So, you know, at least, you know, actions backing up your words. Y'all really did trust everybody. And we trusted Tanisha with a lot of stuff because we didn't look at a lot of the back end of it. Like I was just asking Tanisha, could you update? Yeah,
the information was there, you know.
So then
everybody
let's share.
held their corner. That is what it was. Everybody held their corner, and everybody just allowed whoever had to do what they had to do. Nobody asked. Nobody, like, everybody just knew what it was. Everybody had access to the information, so everybody knew where to pull from and just get it done. So
it was a mutual respect to it and understanding that, listen, this is not my wheelhouse. You are here because this is your wheelhouse, and I trust that you can manage your wheelhouse, so I will let you do that. And I will focus on my wheelhouse, and we could get all these wheels going together. That was the thing. Like, everybody had mutual respect for, all right, Jared going to do this, Lyndon going to do this, Leisel going to do this, Tisha's going to do this, Tanisha's going to be like, okay, great. So if I don't know something, Tisha was this, okay, great. Leisel was this, and it was just going along that direction consistently.
Nice. Right. So for those of you now joining us, if you're watching, this is the entire sales, the profession team. I know a lot of you will know Lyndon and myself, but these are the amazing ladies who do a lot of stuff for us in the background when it comes to executing, to getting these events looking exactly how it is, especially on the execution side. So tonight we're just talking as a team, but I think a question some people might probably be thinking of is, okay, so how do you build a team? Is it like, again, when we first started, I don't think everything was cohesive.
No, I'm not even going to say here and tell you yes, no.
Notice how I conveniently get distracted there. I'm like,
you started looking down one time. No, but because I know a lot of people stumble when it says they try stuff for the first time because they have to put their trust and extent in other people's hands. But I think that's the only way you get ahead. You can't run a road by yourself. You can't achieve big things by yourself. So
it's not just trust. It is understanding personalities, understanding strengths and weaknesses. Like Jared, we know we love him, but we know when we tell you something, we have to tell it 10 times again because that's just Jared, right?
Jared
You know,
forgets.
Right,
Yeah,
it's in a
Jared.
WhatsApp, and it's in an email, beat a drum, put a message in a bottle, send a pigeon, flag.
Call again.
And then ask him 5 minutes before he tells you, Jared, did you XYZ?
No,
Right?
I missed it.
Well,
I try.
it's
It's
like
just
real yin and yang. And then you have Lyndon who you just need to tell him once. And then if he don't get it, he'll pick up your phone and call and be like, why is he supposed to not get? Okay, cool. Done.
Smooth
Yeah,
operator.
so-
Feedback.
Smooth operator.
In a one.
Fine, only painting me in a bad picture. No, that's not 100% true.
Never.
There have been things I've done at least immediately. I can't recall it myself, but I'm sure it exists somewhere. Okay? I find this is unfair. Okay?
So all of this to say, yes, we did not gel from day one, from year one. Definitely not. And here comes, I told you she would have come. Here she comes.
She here
Anyway,
talking,
yes. So,
Mhm.
yes, baby, good night.
right? But
So yeah, it took us a while to get to where we are.
Yeah,
So-
I think it sorry,
no,
it just
Linda, go ahead.
yeah, it comes down to the understanding of the personalities, and as Tynisha was saying, it comes down to that whole thing about strength. Again, and I know that we are on a live, just sort of recapping, but I can't help but try to balance it off from a little bit of a business aspect too, right? Because as I say, this is the most I've been able to get done with a team outside of a corporate space. In a corporate space is a lot of headache. You know, it's a lot of pulling and tugging. With you guys, it was easy. So for me, from the get go, from the first conference, as much as you had your understanding the personalities and everything else, again, I had to close my eyes and say, okay, well, Tisha is going to do that, and as a matter of fact, Jared was the one who identified the members of the team. So Jared said, okay, Tisha and Leisel, LaShawn, that kind of stuff, right? So you just had to kind of roll with that, and everybody did what they had to do. They understood how serious it was, and as I said, I really, for me personally, I really appreciated that, because what Jared and I spoke about the year before we did the conference was just an idea, right? It's something we had in our brains from going to additional conferences. You know, we say, well, you know what, it'd be great if we could host a conference in Trinidad and Tobago and bring that, try to replicate what we experience outside here in Trinidad and Tobago. And I want to say, to be honest with you all, I think this third conference, if not exactly what we aspire to achieve, it's pretty damn close to it. You know, and this is just coming back from the responses we've received so far on the conference. Conference 1, Conference 2 was fine. I think this one
This was a strong
for
rhythm.
me,
It was in a
was
rhythm.
real strong. And again, this is just gauging not from what we execute, not from what we felt we executed on the day, but what we always wanted to give people, and hearing it coming back before we even did the survey and all throughout the weekend, and everybody getting a message and an email, and we sharing it within the group. So yeah, I think this is the closest thing to exactly what we want to achieve, what we went out to achieve. So yeah, comes down to the team.
It's things that make you happy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay, let's ask this difficult. Actually, no. Let's ask this difficult one. Yes. What is one thing you think we have to improve for next year that you think is important, to either just to step the game up for next year? Because a lot of people ask for hybrid, Tisha.
Sorry, what's that?
A lot of people ask for hybrid. People want hybrid.
It's the natural direction to go. Yes.
So
1 year in person, 2 years virtual. It's the natural direction to go. But going hybrid, listen, I think a different kind of iron arm will have to come down. Some of these things that let me say some of the things that I held a still tongue for, I will not in a hybrid situation, because a hybrid is a different kind of monster. And the kind of I's the kind of I's we have to dot and T's we have to cross in a hybrid event, it is a lot more. It's literally planning 2 events if we're doing it right.
Correct.
It's planning an experience for online, and it's planning an experience for in person, and it's planning it in such a way that the two experiences can come together and interact with each other. So yeah, the team might have to double. Everybody might have to have their own assistant. Like,
Who pulling the short straw? Who pulling the short straw on me?
Huh?
Who gonna get the short straw to be my assistant?
Even if you pull it, I'll turn it back.
But Leisel, your mind looking like it burning like you have a question. Where's a question you have to put out? Or where's something you have to say
response.
about everything?
No. Just, hybrid is, I love that Tisha said it's a natural progression.
Is it natural growth?
I will remind you of that, sis. No problem.
Is it natural growth? Listen, honestly, there's some of the conversations Lyndon and I have, right? So like when we had the first conference, remember we went by one of them bars on the avenue and we were sitting on there and we just said, right, we set the bar. There's the benchmark now. Like you had to beat this. No matter what industry, and especially if in sales, you had to beat this. Okay? You can't just say you're a sales trainer. You had to actually talk about doing stuff for your industry. And then last time when we did stuff, I think it became more encompassing now because it wasn't just about still doing a sales event or a conference in a pandemic. It was about how we brought the technology first to the country and actually was able to execute it, even though we had hiccups. And now in the third year, it's just showing that we have mastered the technology. We understand it very well inside out. And not only that too, we bring in the actual sales aspect and keep doubling it up. So I'm not bragging. The only reason why I was talking about everything there earlier is just to say, I just love the fact that with this team, we set in the benchmark of what other people have to do.
Okay, let's have a gala dinner the night before the conference.
I love it because that's what the other big conferences do with the speakers.
We should do like a gala. We should probably do like a Great Gatsby theme and go all out. We could make it like a masquerade.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's an insight to what our meetings are like. Leisel comes with all these ideas.
That's what I do.
Garrett says I love it because he don't have to figure out the logistics. And Lyndon is just gonna laugh through everything. And
I love all ideas. I just had to show up.
What's the final plan? And then T will be like, yeah. What do you need me to get done? Right? So yeah, this is it, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody asks what it's like, this is it. You're about to, oh my goodness.
And then she gets extremely excited. She gets very excited.
I like the idea. I think it's a boss idea.
What was the question?
I'm not sure, but I know we had it on masquerade.
So, yeah, let me come back in with the question. I'll give my response on time, right? The question was, what do we think that we need to do next year or do better, right? So I will say one of the first things will be our operations. So maybe using a little bit more technology to help us automate a few things. Yes, definitely being a little bit more organized, because as Jared and I begin to get more work, it's hard to balance SaaP client objectives and SaaP objectives and that kind of thing. Things will fall, right? So that's those two areas. As it relates to the conference itself, I mean, I don't want to give away anything. I mean, I think it needs to be just bigger than hybrid. I mean, hybrid is one thing, right? But I think for what we should be looking at next year has to be something on a grander scale, because I think that we have the ability of doing it. We have the audience. And it has the ability to expose a lot more people. So I already have the idea. We just didn't have the meeting for me to share with you.
I have my ideas. So
Could you just at least not have us have this conversation in January?
Yeah. No, this can't be a January. This cannot be a January. For what I'm thinking, and I didn't even get to share with Jared as yet, it cannot be a January conversation.
And we need to get people enough time to get their gowns.
Yeah.
Right. What's the next question?
No, my only thing I'll put in with that statement that Lyndon said is that I agree. I think the workload for what we both have together and individually is overwhelming at times. Honestly, next year I think we will actually have to bring on one or two people to actually just push sales, because I think I can't remember if I mentioned this to you. I remember telling it to Lyndon. some of the companies who didn't come, it wasn't budget or anything, was this, they were just swamped with work in their respective offices. So it had people who couldn't come because it was just so busy with work. And I just thought, crap, how many people we didn't reach out to like that? Like a lot of us just keep thinking the economy bad. But have real companies who pump in full stream but need help with sales. Like Linda, look at the lead we got this morning. I mean, that stemmed from the conference, but
right after the conference.
It just showing you how many things happening. So I think in order to drive all those sales and everything, we honestly need just more than Linda and myself to literally somebody out there on the phone just making calls to these companies and stuff who know what we're doing, but just need the constant push. But I agree. And I also think we need to have like one big name, like huge speaker. I could get that. If we're working it from
already
now.
has a name, so we'll wait for when he can.
That means you'll have two names. You'll have two names. You'll have two main speakers.
Okay, no problem. Sure.
And it will mash up. It will mash up. That is all I will say. That is all I will say.
Ladies
right?
and gentlemen, please secure your tickets early. Thank you.
Yeah, because we just, as I say, we understand the value that's bringing more value with sales. So now we just had to make sure and push it.
Yeah.
So
I just want to say very selfishly, thanks for saying that line that you got a lead coming out of the conference, because you just validated my entire presentation. So I just want to say thank you very much.
No, hold on. That's not. Let me be specific. I got a lead. Then I got another lead, which was a call today, and that client confirmed. And then that client actually referred another client who I called with before any day. So
thank you, same way. Virtual events work once they're done right.
Once done right, yeah.
So the key now is just to follow up,
Validation and Tisha stamp.
Yeah.
Just telling you.
And
Virtual events done right.
Didn't want to do the presentation, Linda, and remember that?
Yeah.
Look at that.
And I'll say this too, right? Because as much as we did get the business, and again, just thinking about it over the weekend, an event should really, I think, what you guys helped us deliver on was what an event should be. You see that because so many people left with emotions, their emotions were high, energy, they were motivated, like they were looking forward to going out and selling, and that is what you normally get when you go to some international. Not all of them. I've been to a few of them, and not all of them have that level of energy, right? So to be able to give people that's why I say, to me, it was the closest thing to like almost a perfect conference, right? And I think we well on our way to, we have something, we have a model. It's now just to fine tune it and just deliver on it. So even as it relates to having a product, we sort of have a product, and this kind of spins back into anyone who's listening to this, looking at doing virtual events or looking at hosting any kind of event, whatever the end objective is, apart from sales. If it is that you want to leave people with actionable advice and information, or leave them with some sort of emotion, energized to go and do better, I think what we were able to do here was a good example and benchmark for folks to take a model from.
The objective was to have an experience.
An experience, that's the word.
That was accomplished.
Events are always supposed to be about experiences, and when you focus on that, you're gonna check other boxes that you need to check, and that will ultimately, tie back into that funnel that we're trying to do. So once we focus on that, listen, it's hard work, but when they're asking for the after party at the end, you do something right.
Even after and our most engaged person, Jared Andrews, I don't know if he had shared with you all, he had the group of people he was talking to, he asked them if it is that SaaP had tickets available now for next year, if you would buy, and everybody in the group said yes.
No, because ultimately, guys, that's how you're supposed to do it, right? At the end of one event, you announce the next event, and you do early bird tickets. But don't worry, we will get there.
I am pulling that trigger for Outbound in Atlanta next year, because that's what it's do every year as well. As the conference finished,
once you have an annual, you announce the next year's theme, and you have your system in place, and it's a go. But as Lyndon said, we have to have some operational things in place.
In the back end first.
Before that can
We'll
work the way that it's supposed to work. But we'll get there. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yes, it wasn't.
True.
Right? So I just want to say, ladies, thank you so much again. It really is a dream and so much fun working with you all every time. I know I cause you all a lot of stress. What's that?
Nothing. Go ahead.
I know I cause you all a lot of stress, but I think it's good fun stress. It is. Don't look that way, Leisel.
So can
No,
we?
but
I mean, somebody
There's healthy
asked, right?
stress.
Jared did ask in the conference if we could, spill some of the beans and get in here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
And getting where?
I don't know, and getting to where we are now, right?
Right.
Back, we wanna
Jared
go
asked,
there.
and
Spill the
I
beans.
have to be spill the beans. Like, listen, you know how much time listen, I had to be in the back. Like, sis, what's this?
But hold on, let's go back on the back
You know
end,
how
which is
many?
fun.
Hold on. You know how many times you have to be like, if this wasn't Jared and Linda.
Gone.
Let me I would always bring up, I always remember the story from the first conference when we said how much people we wanted to have, and they said no, we capping it at 100, and you and Lisa left, and I remember watching it and I say, hey, that's
For
we gonna
150.
hit our 150. And then like a week or 2 weeks before the conference, I get a call from Tisha like, yo, why are you still selling tickets to the conference? Why are we still seeing tickets being sold? Do you understand that we are maxed out? The room has a capacity. And I was like, I thought they said we couldn't sell more than 100. It's like, listen, forget all that. Just stop selling tickets. I was like, fine. And then I had to tell the other person, he's like, all right, hard luck. I can't sell you the 2 tickets. Because I was selling.
And then
but
remember the people who showed up at the door in year one with their money in hand, trying to get in.
Like,
and then Jared comes to Tisha, guys. The guy is at the door. No, look, I have the money. No, money's not the problem. Jared looks at me and I go, right? I walk away. He goes to Tisha. Tisha looks at me and then she looks at Jared and she go, where want us to put him to sit up? Wait, on my head? Wait, and Jared's like, I have nothing we could do. I'm like, Jared, where? If you were there year one, my goodness, you were like sardines.
it was a sardine.
Yeah,
It was a
yeah.
It was a ram dance.
And Jared wanted to sell tickets on the day of the conference, on the morning of, and asking Tisha and I, nothing we could do.
That's why I love the virtual, because it have no limit now. So like we could just keep selling.
So
You know,
yes,
we kind of did it.
Yes, but
the morning off.
Yes, but right? Remember, I just said events are an experience, right? The experience starts before. So when you have somebody skating in the morning of, it's like you are not able to focus on what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
So again, if that's what we plan on doing, I look forward to the assistant for Leisel, the assistant for Tisha, and the assistant for Tynisha.
Right.
Because we cannot all be live and addressing registrations at the same time. And that was the only reason why I said no. So again, to Lyndon's point, when we get operational things, listen, you all can sell halfway inside the conference. If somebody's willing to pay money to come in when 2 presentations are over because recordings are available, cool. But those things require a system and a process for them to reach.
And what I want to do is like, because I know we were talking about some of the gray on the back end. So I can tell you guys that 3 weeks or 2 weeks before the conference, we literally only had 15 tickets sold. All right, and we had
15 or 50.
15. Right.
I remember it clearly.
We had 45 people registered and 15 tickets sold. And that was a Saturday, and it was daunting, right? It was daunting because we didn't know what was going to happen. Now, mind you, we were reaching out to customers, and customers were saying, customers were giving you different, reasons as to why, and pandemic, yada yada yada, and we had no sponsors, right? So what did happen?
Well, we had one.
Well, we had one, right? But we needed a lot more. Right?
I'll try that sponsor.
But I have to give credit to Jared, because at the end of that meeting, or at the end of the weekend, we had the meeting on a Saturday. We had at least 2 people on by Sunday afternoon or by Monday afternoon, which was, I think, was Media Insight, and there was somebody else that was coming on board. So again, doing these things is not easy, but again, trusting the people and allowing people to do exactly what their strength is. And Jared is always a really good magnet for bringing people in and really pushing that energy to for everybody else to say, I need to get here for this thing. So yeah.
And then remembering that Caribbean culture, as we like to skate in when we close
last
down.
minute. I don't know.
I can't remember the guy name. I think he had your last name, Lyndon.
I remember it well.
Kudos to you, horse. Listen, this man swiped the card like he swiped it to make sure he gets you like 3 times.
3 times, yeah.
Listen, y'all. If we drop in stats, Lyndon, I was waiting to see if you were going to say it, but you all literally sold 100 tickets in a week.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah.
Like big facts, because I was watching the numbers and I kept telling you all what we needed to hit. Even I was shocked when I realized we were considerably over the 100. And I said, how? Right?
But I think in terms of we talking about trusting the team and all of that good stuff, but I think the one thing that we've always done year after year is trust in the product that we're putting out.
Yeah.
And no matter what the numbers look like, what the sponsorship looks like at any stage, the conversation and the meetings has always been, how do we pack the maximum amount of value into this agenda through our speakers, through the experiences? How do we make sure that the energy is high? How do we give conference attendees additional value? And I mean, from year one, to Jared and Lyndon's credit, it has always been a mandate that when people leave this conference, they must leave with tangible items, things that they could do 5 minutes after the conference that will impact their daily life in terms of sales. So that has always been a focus for us. And I think that no matter what happened, even when, since all you said before me, we were looking at the lack of ticket sales, and somebody asked the question, do we discount the ticket price further? And we had to go, well, we can't, because this is incredible value. And at the end of the day, we're doing this event in the middle of a pump city. And we understand the restrictions, the limitations that people are operating in, and we do want to give people the best possible chance, but their operating costs to executing a conference of this nature. And give thanks to a lot of the sponsors that helped us and a lot of the partnerships that came on with significant sponsorship value as well for us to be able to pull this off. But we just can't go more affordable than we are. So it has always been a testament to providing the greatest value for people to have the biggest impact. And that's a guarantee that you get yearly with us. That's a guarantee.
That's the only thing I feel stumped with, though. That's the only thing I feel stumped with, that I want to sit down and rack my brain with in the next couple of months, is how do we get sponsors excited about this? I don't understand how sponsors can't see a value in this, but I think it's probably how we word it, and we have to change that around and test different stuff. But I don't know.
I see it a little bit different. The value, I think what has to happen now is that we have to use one of the sponsors that saw the value, because they said it, right? They said it in our sponsor meeting, and then we have to now use that as leverage, because what we are offering is different. And because it's an experience, it's not tangible, like somebody they can see, okay, well, we're getting this coming from it. So we have to use that other large name sponsor to help them understand exactly what they get in as a takeaway from it.
And I mean, I think the power of the human element, and I think for us, for all of the attendees who came this year, who had an absolutely fantastic time. I saw LinkedIn was lit with everybody posting about their experiences, which was absolutely fantastic and always heartwarming to hear. But I think you guys can help us as well to next year when we come out with the conference in terms of talking about your experiences. Because I remember one person saying, when I kind of photobombed Tisha's network lounge, one of those calls, the person was like, I didn't understand what you all meant when you all said this is not another Zoom webinar. And she's like, boy, am I blown away. You know, so even in, you know, we can say it's not another Zoom webinar. We can say it's an experience. We can say all of these things. But until you actually come and experience how all of that is kind of like sewn together, weaved together to produce
Right.
the product, there will always be a level of hesitation. There will always be a question mark, you know? And so I think...
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I think for attendees to kind of talk about their experience, we're not asking you to say anything that isn't true, just genuinely talk about your experience and your feedback. It will help start the conversation and gather the interest. And, you know, it's like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? If we can go to a sponsor and see we have more than 10 tickets sold 3 weeks out,
Right.
maybe they'll see the value too, you know?
Yeah. So,
I think it is also because we are doing, let's keep it real, we are early adopters, we are early movers, right? So there is nothing to compare to, and at the end of the day, in the middle of the publicity, I guess, you're trying to be protective, as Alison said, you know, sponsors are going to see this as an expense.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
only those who have that mindset to think beyond, I'm just spending money, might be able to see it, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, unfortunately, our culture is that I need to see somebody else do it first for me to kind of understand what it is, as opposed to, you know what, I appreciate you guys are going to be doing something new. Let me hear what the process is, because if any sponsor asks, we would have told them exactly what we were planning to do, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
But if there isn't a genuine interest in it, then you are not going to have those kind of conversations, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, from the time you are on board as a sponsor, you will tell that this is not a Zoom event. You will tell that this is not a regular schmegular thing, right? And then if you had supported the other part of the other side of the coin is, because of what they've been asked to sponsor, passing off as virtual events, and I'm not trying to shade at anybody, you have to understand now that the sponsors have been burnt. So you would have had huge investments in events that promised to deliver certain things and didn't. So where is this SME, this small business, this, I don't even know who these people are, coming to tell me that they're going and do X? If the larger companies can't do it, who is this small company coming to claim to do it? You understand?
Maybe
Yeah.
larger companies need to call you.
Listen. Remember, let's recall
Call us.
when we said
All that was about.
remember when B Mobile sent us the email saying, yeah, there's a lot of stuff. We've never had to submit so much stuff for the other virtual events we've had to be a part of. And we're like, yeah, because this is an actual virtual event. There's a difference.
And that is and Tisha summed it up correctly, because what Tisha was saying is represents the intangible that I was talking about, right? Because it's so different, because we are trying to bring something that's, it might sound similar to other people, but then if they're saying virtual, they're thinking it's what do you call it? They're thinking it's Zoom or whatever. And because B Mobile got an experience from before, one of the representatives from B Mobile indicated to us that you guys have a presence, an audience, an attraction, a this and that. That's what they told us, coming from their last year's experience. So they had something that was quote unquote tangible based upon a previous experience, that they felt that, you know what, we didn't want to miss out on this, and these are the things that we want to get coming out of it. So they took the opportunity initially, and they had the experience, and it was easy for them to be on board for this year. You know, so yeah, as I say, it's selling stuff like that is, I would always say, it's pushing that. Sean. Yeah, it's always about pushing that value, and hoping that they genuinely see what the value is, and we have to make sure that we keep letting them know that what we are trying to do is something different. We have to maintain, as JB and I, we have to, because I think we did a better job this year than last year in terms of building on the mind share. In terms of, you know, just keeping our presence up, because I think our presence dropped in year 2 after the first conference, and so that when it comes to leading up to the conference, it's kind of easy because people already know that it's coming and stuff like that. And then of course having excellent cast members like Shauna Mora, You understand? Having excellent cast members like Sean and Maura to add to that
I
value.
sent you a message earlier today. Check it on LinkedIn. Check it.
Nah, I think honestly, this year, that's what I'm saying. I think this year all the speakers hit it off the mark. Even bringing Cheyenne on last minute was an excellent suggestion. She carried it, I think, to start things off right. So kudos to Leisel on that. All the speakers, I think, just hit it on the mark. Like I went through a couple of the presentations. Mm-hmm.
Because we had practitioners.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
People just giving examples.
We had practitioners. We had people.
Yeah, people were just very I think sometimes you go to events, you go to conferences, and I find a lot like every time I look at a Zoom webinar or something that somebody says is a virtual event, it is, I'm going to tell you the barest of minimums. I'm going to tell you the stuff that you learn in this category at kindergarten. You know what I'm saying? But you are operating at secondary school level and you're trying to get into university. But here I am doing an event telling you what you learn at kindergarten, and I'm there with you. I'm engaged. I'm like, yes, you know your stuff. You start at the basic level. And then you say, you know, before I continue real quick, I just want to hit you up my offer to get into my masterclass for you to learn the stuff that you want to learn. And it's going to cost you 3 times the amount of what you can potentially afford in order for you to actually learn it. So I promise you that I'm giving you value, but I'm not really giving you value. I'm just creating leads to myself to push you into this thing for you to spend money, for me to make money, right? And I think every year, you know, over the course of the 3 years of sales as a profession, we've had it. But this year, I think our speakers came with the mindset and the intention of we are sharing wholeheartedly, you know, without limitations, without restrictions. We are going to share what our experiences have been, the tips, the tricks, the strategies that we've learned and developed along the way, or tools that we use, or resources. And we're not going to hold back, you know. Like for me, question and answer wasn't enough. Question and answer was enough because yes, Sean, they showed up. They showed up.
Nah, real talk.
And
that's exactly what it was.
I think as you know, the engine room, and as putting on a conference like that, when you sit down and you kind of, you know, I remember standing up next to Tisha backstage and I'm like, yo, this presentation's still happening. And Tisha goes, the people and them getting value here, what we gonna do? I'm like, okay, cool. Like, this person's still talking. Did they take a sip of water? What's happening?
For once, I wasn't even like, oh my God, time. Like, I was just like, yeah.
Because the audience was telling us, we saw it in the chat. The people was like,
they were.
I think Hubilo need to allow people to put emojis. We need the fire emoji or the 100 emoji. Like, honestly,
the hearts and everything else.
That was a direct indicator. You saw it throughout every single chat, and that's how I know we provided value. And again, when you saw it to the messages, I think it was just absolutely just affirmation of just right. We're on the right track. Every speaker and it just flowed. They flew.
I had somebody say Sean spoke for 45 minutes. I didn't even know that I'm supposed to be
Sean speak for 45 minutes?
You see?
Look, Sean said he's still in the portal talking to people.
No, listen, watching the chat, because I was monitoring the back end of things. I'm just watching the chat, and what I really appreciate is the amount of connections people were able to make. Just being there, like you met somebody new and you were able to form a connection with them, and you found areas where you guys meshed and you were able to start conversations. Even Jared, our top performer for this conference, Jared actually said, okay, we're starting a group. We're starting a chat. This is going to be the front room posse. Like, and everybody just started coming on board. It was like they just got this entire movement going, and I want to call it the SaaP movement, because they were all just so tuned in, not just to what was going on screen or from the speakers, but within themselves, even their contributions, and people reading and, you know, resonating certain things within each other, and just carrying on a whole conversation around what they were getting. Even some of the ideas that were pinging as they were hearing new information, things that was just popping into their head, and they would just come into the chat and throw it out there. And some would be like, yes, that resonated with me. it was amazing to just watch the way that this conference just brought people together, especially now when we feel so disconnected from each other because we don't have the same level of interaction, the same level of in-person and seeing people. And for us in the Caribbean culture, being in each other's space is a big part of who we are. This here, I think, has been the closest that I have experienced since we've been in this community that resonated, that felt like we were outside again.
Yeah.
You know, Tisha,
And it was
talking,
amazing.
and I just got an idea.
Before you wrap up this conversation.
Yes, I agree. We've been chatting. I don't know if anybody who's listening, if you have any questions for us, anything to ask the team, any ideas to throw out for us if you're attending the conference and you want to give us feedback. But as I said, this team here is what made the magic happen, right? Do ever give Lyndon and me props to anything with regards to events? We are none to do with it. We show up on the day, but
we just the poster boys.
Yeah, we are the face. That's it. But as we had the discussion, it really just shows. I honestly just hyped about it, just given the fact that there's nobody doing what we're doing right now, and encompassing so many different aspects. As I say, it's not just sales; it's just talking about how you host the event, how you have people engage in events, how you make sure that the event is something that is well done and well hosted, like the full works. We are doing it. So that's just what makes me overly excited every single day to just be a part of this team.
Sean, you missed my first brilliant idea, right? I will tell you. What about next year? If we start off the conference the night before with like a gala dinner, a masquerade ball. They're not
ahead.
Sean, come on, support.
But it's a legit idea because in outbound for VIP, you pay like $1,600 US, and you actually get to serve dinner with all the speakers, like all the keynote speakers, one-on-one dinners. And I found that was a decent idea.
Why, if we're not going into a brainstorming, please?
Nope.
Yes, we'll do that another day. But folks,
look, Sean.
He's on board.
Sean like to instigate. Sean wants to do that. Right, but thanks so much as well, Alison. But yes, as I say, we had to do this live just to give a recap, just to introduce the team. We won't keep them too long because I know everybody had long days and we all tired. But you know, you can all find us on LinkedIn. You know what to reach out to all of us when you need certain things. So you have Lyndon and I, a sales expert. You have your communication expert, Leisel. You have your event expert, Tisha. You have your event experts, executors, which is Tisha and Leisel. And then you have your virtual admin extraordinaire, Tynisha, right here in front of the screen. You're not going to get a better team than this. I don't mean to boast. If this was an NBA team, you was going to win the finals. Putting that out there. I don't know who in charge of NBA right now. I don't know who playing. I think Suns or Spurs or Dito Shakatak. I'm not following it. But just saying. Dito Shakatak
that's local. That's local.
But if you're an NBA team, we were the underdogs that everybody's favorite now to win. So I'm honored to be a part of the team.
As am I.
2022, man.
All
right.
I'll try to pull back the pictures when we're in a monkey pants again next year and be like, all right, Tisha, stick and stay and respect the process.
Respect the process. We will get it. Listen, the only thing I'll ask, like, here's my request for next year. Sponsors, understand the value. Attendees, a week before the conference is very nerve-wracking for us. Like, buy tickets in April now. Always get paid after Easter. Buy tickets in April.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Please.
June 17th, 9:30. People buying tickets. You know the conference starts at 9.
Yeah, listen.
It's not a fete.
It's madness. Somebody put that to the comments. This is not a fete in here. It's
madness. Nah, it really was a fete. I remember Tisha was trying to find somebody's name and the chat just kept going and we couldn't find it. So woo, it's gonna
thank
be
you
fun.
though to the attendees. You know, everybody everybody giving kudos to me for starting the energy. But let me tell you something. Sales as a Profession 2021 conference attendees and participants, y'all were lit.
Yeah,
From
boy.
the crew in the front posse to, you know, the crew that engaged with Tisha, but I didn't even know how that became a thing. Somehow I didn't think that the responses were coming up with Tisha's name. I didn't realize that Tisha, while she seen her presentation, was seeing the responses too. Is a wonder. She stayed on track. Good job. But y'all were absolutely amazing, and we definitely appreciated the energy. It was very encouraging and heartwarming to even realize the impact that we were making even before the conference ended. And so I just want to give thanks to you guys for your energy. It was amazing. Really, really appreciate it.
Just in full disclosure on that too, what I want to say is that I think a lot of it had to do with because again the experience started before they logged into that platform. So we were sharing information. They know what they would have gotten before they logged in. And then they logged in. And then they were like, whoa, this is really not this. And this is really what they're saying. So they genuinely got excited because what we said manifested in what they were starting to receive.
We delivered.
So at 8:55 a.m., when we, in full disclosure, waited for Leisel to walk in the door because she had an emergency, right? I looked in the chat and nobody was complaining at 9 o'clock when it hit 9, at 9:05, and nobody's like, it didn't start yet. No, they were busy having their own conversation, riling up themselves. And when Leisel came into the room, I looked at her and I said, let's go. The chat is on fire and people are ready.
So
we have the video. We have the video of when Leisel.
We have the video to prove it.
I'm gonna post it, right? So I was gonna post this on LinkedIn tomorrow, but since Tisha out me, right? I was gonna own up to it, guys. So the conference is supposed to start at 9 a.m. Honestly, I entered the room at 8:59 a.m. 8:59 a.m. I think at 8:50 maybe, Tisha called me and she said, sis, what's going on? And I said, listen, things happened. It's been a morning. I'm coming. I said, I'll be there in 5-10 minutes. And she said, where are you? And I said, Grand Bazaar. And she said, well, safety first. She said, safety first. I was like, yeah. I hung up the phone and I'm like coming down the highway, right? Skating. I walked in at 8:59 and I walked in. And guys, y'all want to talk about energy? The energy I walked into in that room. Jared was being Jared, and I'm just hearing Jared going, we could start now. We could start now. Tisha is dancing. I never see Tisha dance before an event. It generally happens during the event while I start a dance and a chicken thing, she'll shake a little leg. Tisha is full on boogieing. And the person that stood out the most to me was Lyndon, right? Because like I said, for me, Lyndon is the smooth operator. Lyndon is always very calm, very collected. And I remember hearing Lyndon say, Lisa, my energy was at 90. It's at 100 now that you're here. And I was like, what is happening in this room? Now, Tynisha was quiet. And at the time, I was like, Tynisha, I didn't say anything, but that's okay, no problem. Then I saw a video of me walking into the room and I realized why Tynisha was quiet, right? So it all made sense. But, it was fantastic. And there was nothing to be done. I walked in and Tisha said, let's go. The chat is on fire. And I was like, no, I need to pull up this. And Tynisha was like, here it is. And I was like, no, but I need this. And it was just like, everybody was, hey, we ready. Everybody ready. And it was amazing. It was amazing.
You're ready.
We just had
so all of that to say, thanks to the attendees, because we got energy from them. When we went into the chat and I saw what was going on, I was like, okay, these people are ready. Let's go. Like
that chat was serious. That chat wasn't a joke.
So tip
be prepared for next
tip,
year.
Engage your attendees before they get to your event.
Works every time. It works every time.
Insider tip: hire us if you want to have the best event ever. Simple.
I'm not here to sell. Just dropping tips.
All right. Well, I'm gonna let you all go. I can start to crash for the night as well, but it's great seeing your faces. I can't wait till we can actually sit down and have a beer or drink in person.
Yeah. That's
probably 2022, June 16th, a couple of days before the conference next year.
No.
Based on everything, we don't know, but that's just what will happen. It just, it'll just be so far away. But I think as I say, I just love this team. Just one of the best things that happened so far for 2020 and 2021.
Yeah.
So
Aww. Aww.
I won't cry because you will laugh at me like how you laugh at me in the first conference. So no.
Wow.
All right.
No laughing.
So
Right?
we're going to more stories.
Yes.
All right.
Good night, folks.
Good night. Good night. Good night.
Bye. Bye.